Welcome to this explainer. Before we dive into the details, I want you to take a slow, deep breath with me. Just let it out. Step away from the endless noise of your daily routine and imagine walking out into a quiet, sunlit garden. Let me ask you a direct question. Are you currently exhausting yourself trying to maintain a flawless, grown-up facade? You know the feeling. Putting on a performance to show the world you are highly independent and perfectly put together, even when you are running on empty inside. Vietnamese culture has a specific phrase for this, gongmen, or straining yourself. It describes a specific kind of internal tension, an unspoken rule where we feel we must constantly prove our value to the world by never showing a hint of weakness. Society hands us a rigid set of expectations, demanding continuous, unbroken effort. We are told to push our physical limits and chase milestones until we end up wearing a heavy armor of ambition just to survive the day. But by prioritizing that social performance, we completely ignore our biological reality. Pushing forward without ever pausing to breathe or heal creates an artificial way of existing that our bodies were never designed to maintain. The human body and mind have a hardwired necessity to recharge. Pausing isn't a luxury. It is a basic biological requirement for your nervous system to function. We have somehow convinced ourselves that a successful adult never stops. Yet without actual rest, your mental faculties begin to degrade. You literally cannot keep going under endless strain. This is a portrait of the legendary Vietnamese songwriter Trinh Quang Son. He possessed a profound understanding of this human need for respite. He captured it perfectly when he wrote, "My tired feet seek a chair to rest." It is a simple piece of poetic wisdom that validates a basic physical truth. When the journey gets too heavy, exhaustion is a natural state that requires attention. Taking a seat doesn't mean you are failing at life. It means you are actually listening to your own nature. Recognizing when to stop is a sign of true maturity. So, what happens if we ignore those tired feet and never take off the armor? The psychological cost is severe. We end up creating what psychologists call the shadow. See how the shadow forms. Repressed emotions and unmet needs are pushed down to maintain this rigid mask. This dark energy eventually erupts in safe spaces. Symptoms include craving superiority, masking true feelings, or lashing out at loved ones after holding it together all day. We also see it in the combative arguments people get into online behind anonymous avatars. Or, most tragically, in the feeling of utter emptiness despite achieving massive success, because the person who achieved it was just a mask. Refusing to acknowledge your inner exhaustion doesn't make it disappear. It transforms it into toxic behavioral patterns that slowly undermine any genuine connection you have with the people around you. Now that we know this shadow is lurking, we need a way to manage it without resorting to even more exhausting emotional suppression. There is a highly effective, gentle approach inspired by Vipassana meditation. It is a two-step mindfulness process that lets you handle your inner self without judgment. Step 1 is to observe naturally, or ginyant. When you feel angry, tired, or flawed, do not immediately try to crush or control it. Just acknowledge the feeling. Allow yourself to actually experience your flaws. Step 2 is to intervene with willpower. But you only use this step if your negative emotion is about to spill over and cause harm to someone else. You are deploying your willpower as a protective safety net for your community. You are no longer using it as a weapon against your own humanity. This image illustrates a beautiful metaphor. There is a saying that a guava with a worm inside is sometimes sweeter than a perfect one. It suggests that a flawed fruit is often the most authentic. We are repeatedly told we need to be the flawless, shiny fruit sitting on the supermarket display. But out in the real world, the most deeply flavored things in nature carry a little vulnerability. The same applies to you. Your past mistakes and those moments where you aren't perfectly polished are exactly the traits that make you relatable and honestly, truly lovable to others. True maturity is not about eradicating every single one of your bad traits. It is the harmonious acceptance of both your radiant light and your hidden shadow. It is about stepping down from that exhausting pedestal of artificial perfection so you can finally meet people eye to eye as an equal, beautifully flawed human being. As we rise out of that dense thicket of societal pressure, we can return to a pure, untamed connection to nature. Strip away the job titles, the social roles, and the endless expectations. What remains is your most basic identity, a part of the natural world. From this perspective, you are a child of the universe with an inherent right to exist exactly as you are, without needing to justify your space through constant productivity. When you finally shed that heavy armor, you start to trust the natural flow of life. You don't abandon effort entirely. You simply balance it with deep, unapologetic rest. You learn exactly when to drop the serious adult act. By allowing yourself to be playful, you bring genuine joy, not just to yourself, but to everyone you interact with. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final question. Will you allow yourself to rest? Thanks for watching, and I hope you find some time for yourself today. Choosing to lay down that armor marks a shift toward a more sustainable, authentic way of living. It replaces the exhaustion of a performance with the quiet confidence of a person who is finally at peace with their own nature.